Maybe a little.
We Mr. Meeseeks, look at me.
Oh.
I'm
Alright, okay.
BRB.
Okay, I started the stream. Adrian.
Alright, let me take a look. How can I be the mod and still be getting ads?
Ha! Pay up, brother.
That's crazy.
It's fine. Clearly, you don't need to know what your streamer is doing in order to ban somebody.
Right. I see it. Our icons are a little blurry, I assume.
Yeah, that's just
That's
the
just
nature of
from-
the beast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just from making it bigger and shit.
Yeah.
I love how we're all sideways.
Yes, good. See, I'll move it over a little bit to the side, right there.
Do see some mod options. I can click on you and I can see how many things you've done, how many messages you've sent. I can warn you, I can time you out,
What the
I
heck?
can ban you. I'm just gonna mute the stream.
Yeah, I would keep it muted. Just occasionally glance at the chat to make sure nothing horrific has occurred, pretty much, because I'm not going to be looking at it at all. And once we get to the discussion part, if I am not looking at it and you happen to notice, again, like if Pasta or somebody shows up and has something worthwhile to say, you could be like, oh, so-and-so says blah, 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 blah. Sort of that kind of situation, but I'm not really anticipating any of that. A few people I know won't be able to be here. I haven't heard from Amarillo. Jesse hurt his back today at work, so he's kind of KO'd. And then Paolo is gonna perhaps be a little late. He's on a different time zone, but yeah, now that they're recorded, people can go back and watch when they miss, which I think will be nice.
Well, I haven't met the other ones, but I miss Amarillo. I think
That's
it's what her
Erica.
Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like I haven't actually been able to talk to her since I joined the server again.
Yes.
She friended me on Facebook like 4 months ago, and then we were both just didn't talk to each other.
Hello.
Well, there she is.
Speak of the devil.
There she is. We were just saying, I wonder if Erica's gonna be here. And here she is.
Nah. Hello. How's it going?
Very good, yes. Yeah, I'm excited.
Very cold.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, that as well. That as
I have
well.
had a very weird 2 weeks, so
Ain't that? I mean, I feel like that's the case whenever it's Christmas and New Year's. Is just the laws no longer apply in any way, shape, or form. Just weird shit happens.
I had to move, so yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, and I'm still like, okay. So I moved 10 hours away,
Oh wow, that is a move.
like literally 3 days after Christmas, because my new job started on the 30th,
Yeah, Raven
and my
just moved
parents were
here.
like, yeah, I'm like an hour from her now.
Nice.
But anyway, long story short, I did that thing where I put the bare necessities in my car and left. because I wouldn't be able to get into my apartment for a week, so I didn't want to have a whole bunch of, shit I couldn't do anything with or risk
Sure.
somebody like breaking into the truck or whatever.
Absolutely.
So my parents were supposed to bring the rest of my stuff on Monday,
Oh no.
but I don't know if you've heard what happened on Monday. Well, actually, Monday was fine. The blizzard was Sunday, but Monday, it was
yeah.
definitely,
Yeah.
it was still definitely a no man's land.
Yep.
Supposedly, I am getting my stuff this week,
I'm crossing my
assuming
fingers
things,
for you.
assuming shit melts over the weekend.
Yep. Get out like a blowtorch or something. Get a
I
leaf
mean-
blower going.
Oh man, go look in the meteorological channel and look at the pictures of my car that I posted.
Oh my god, I'm now seeing the fucking dog. Look at the pupper. God damn.
Sweet Maples.
That's wild.
There was at least 2 feet of snow on parts of my car. My
I'm
new
so
boss
happy.
actually helped take me out with her
Holy moly.
husband, so
I'm
she
so
is my new
happy
favorite person, and I love her.
that I live in Georgia and where snow is a rarity in the extreme. That's rough.
I can't even say anything because before this, I was thinking of moving up to New York to
Oh,
stay
Lord.
with some of my other friends. And I'm just like, why is why are all of my opportunities where it's cold?
Yup.
That's the way it is.
I was actually working for the city for a little bit, which I actually liked, but at the same time, it's like an entry-level city job, so the pay was shit. So
Yeah.
Alright, Toast, you ready? Doing this?
Oh,
Oh.
yes.
Get my book.
I don't know if you're doing something with Discord, Toaster, but it just like shifted. And
Yeah,
I
it's
see
because the event thing for book club popped up. I exited
Oh,
it.
okay.
Yes.
Oh, you're also watching the stream too?
Oh, he's keeping an eye just in case something crazy happens. I guess some
I'm a
moderator
click snot.
suggestions.
Ooh.
You.
The first moderator.
Excited people next year. Hey, don't say that. I'll ban you.
I just muted the stream.
Yes.
Yeah, so I just have it popped up. But I muted the stream so I could pay attention in Discord.
Okay,
Is
let's
Andy
see.
not
So I
joining
can
us?
take that. Andy's grandma's birthday party is tonight, so she didn't think she would be able to join. We have 2 that might come in later, but yes, we will go ahead and start. Let's see, where is the webcam? Wah! Bleh. Okay.
Oh no, we're gonna lose all our viewers.
Ah!
all people who are currently in this Discord channel.
Yes. Okay. I guess we'll get started. So hopefully everything is nice and optimized, but definitely open to feedback as far as if anything is too quiet, too loud, etc. Oh, Paolo's here. Okay, let me extend this little thing. Welcome.
I got a little time, you know.
Okay, whatever. We all chilling. It's good.
I know
All right.
it's pretty late for you guys.
Yeah, 7 o'clock. I'm barely awake. I gotta go climb into my
You're on that
hyperbolic
grandma schedule.
chamber or whatever old people do. Okay. So, Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. That's our new book now. It's 384 pages, and we will start off with the prologue. All right. We're introduced to Richard Mayhew, a handsome fellow who is currently trying not to barf after drinking a lot at his going-away party. He is posted up outside of the bar when an old woman approaches him and offers him money, thinking he is homeless. He reassures her he is not homeless, and she ends up telling his fortune and says, "You've got a long way to go, not just London. Not any London I know. I'm sorry. It starts with doors. I'd watch out for doors if I were you." She leaves, and Richard rejoins the party, furthering his drunkenness and ending the night with some very strange memories. The next morning, he leaves for London. So, what did you guys think about this brief introduction to this world?
No, I mean, not too
Open
much to
doors,
go
man.
off
I knew they
there.
couldn't be trusted.
It's mysterious.
I don't even know how much of a prologue it was. Like I didn't know what to make of any of it.
I
Yeah.
think it was just an introduction of Richard and
Yeah.
his friend group that it seems like maybe doesn't want him around too much.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Setting up the
So,
locale
yeah,
as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Yeah.
Going
Yeah.
And
on
I
with it.
think it might be pertinent to point out that the prologue, I don't think it's actually included in any other edition
Oh,
of the
really?
book outside of the illustrated one. So I
Okay.
think I
It,
think
it
it's
was. I got a copy from Libby, which I think was just the regular
oh okay,
digital
gotcha.
copy, and it had the prologue.
Okay.
So
Oh well, then never
Yeah, I
mind.
have
Yeah, because
the-
I was reading like the forward. It was like very much like there's a lot of things in the illustrated version that weren't in the like original publishings of it. So I was curious if like
Oh yes.
that was one of the things that was
I
that
think
was
it's a.
cut.
I think most of the differences are just the content at the end of the book. But
Gotcha.
if
Okay,
if people have different editions and they notice other differences, definitely. If somebody's saying something like, "Wait, I didn't see that," definitely
like
mention
hold
that.
on, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got the white cover with like the purple and the purple like string looking thing on the cover. Anybody else get that version of the book?
yeah, that's the digital version that my library had. I wish I had been able to get the one with the illustrations. I love pictures.
That's
Yeah, I
what I
have that
thought I
one.
was
They're not.
getting.
More books need pictures, and not in like a
I
kids
wholeheartedly
kind of
agree.
way.
Yep. Yeah.
I thought I was getting that edition, but I guess Amazon decided to change it up last minute and give me.
Aw.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all 10 of us trying to buy it at once was
Ha!
just like, wait, we didn't have that many copies.
Yeah,
Hold
it
on.
might have made a
Psych, we're just
difference.
gonna give you this. We're gonna give you the other version, the plain version. So I'm like,
Yeah.
oh great.
But as far as like the prologue goes, I think it does a good job of like introducing kind of like the pacing of things, if that makes any sense.
Mhm.
Like this is Neil Gaiman's like I think his very first book that he had written.
Really?
Yeah, before American Gods, before he like got into Sandman. So it's interesting to go from like his more refined works to like this like really kind of I wouldn't say choppy, but the writing feels very like snipped, if that makes any sense at all. Like just the makes it feel like more fast paced than what I would expect from one of his other books.
Okay.
Not as detail oriented as maybe
Yeah,
as yours.
exactly. Yeah.
I haven't read any of his other books, but I definitely noticed the choppy sentences. Not in like a bad way, but just
No, like definitely introducing like a particular
I
style.
also learned that this was apparently a novelization of a TV show, so I kind of want to go find the TV show.
Yeah, like he like continually talked about well, I'm just going to put it in the novel if you cut it from the show. So
Yeah, I think I'm definitely curious about one of the last mentions in the chapter when he's like having his weird drunken whatever hallucinations, dreams, and he mentions a white shape marked with strange colored symbols like a little round beetle walking away from him in the rain. I'm curious if that comes up again or some kind of explanation or anything like
I think
that.
it was
Yeah.
a rat being pelted by rain, if I had to take a guess. I think it was a rat.
It did
but,
mention
you know.
symbols. Some kind of symbols. So,
yeah.
I don't know. Okay, well, any other thoughts on the prologue? It's pretty short, just 5 pages.
Yeah. I'd be interested to know if his friends come back into play, but I don't think they will be.
Yes.
Is my guess.
As a side note, the TV show came out in 1996, so it's actually very old.
Oh.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Also, I was in a
Yeah, very old, huh?
Yeah, so old, guys.
Jesus.
You wrote
Yeah, I was
this
born
game,
in
man.
3, alright. It's
Twelve
older,
years
or
before.
it's younger
I
than me.
would just like to state this book is an entire year older than my new boss.
Oh my god. Oh man.
It's beautiful. Okay, we move on to chapter 1. And so, chapter 1. It's 3 years. 3 years have passed since the prologue. In this chapter, we meet several new characters. There's Jessica, not Jess, who is Richard's ambitious, busy-bodied, and somewhat naive fiancée from a wealthy family. Richard and Jessica accidentally met in a museum in France, and now Jessica frequently herds him around to various exhibits in London, something he doesn't particularly enjoy, and mainly notices how much it makes his feet hurt. There's Mr. Kroop and Mr. Vandemar, a strange pair that are opposites in appearance and seem to be not quite human, at least based on Mr. Vandemar's consumption of a freshly killed rat and the book's presentation of them having all the time in the world to complete their task. And finally, a girl named Dor, who appears to have a magical ability to open doors to random places, though she can't seem to fully control it. And also, she's being pursued by Mr. Kroop and Mr. Vandemar. In this chapter, Richard is having a busy day at work and dropping the ball on various things. He told Jessica he'd make important dinner reservations weeks ago, and he didn't. He told his coworker they'd have a drink, but they can't on account of him having this dinner. He's very scatterbrained. He's laid back to a fault. He hurries home and barely gets changed in time to meet Jessica in the apartment lobby. And from there, they are on their way towards Ma Mason Italiano for their important meeting with Jessica's boss, Mr. Stockton. They're almost there when Dor appears through a random door opening onto the sidewalk, a few feet in front of them. She is bleeding and crumples to the ground. Jessica hardly notices and is very antsy and frustrated when Richard insists on helping. Dor refuses an ambulance or hospital, so Richard resigns himself to taking Dor to his apartment, and he carries her off. Dor magically opens Richard's front door when they get there after he'd left his keys at home, and Richard carries her to his room and leaves her to rest. The chapter ends with Jessica sipping wine and contemplating her relationship with Richard, as he had left under the threat of leaving, meaning their engagement was over. All right, initial thoughts on this chapter.
I just want to add that this music, I was not reading it with this kind of music in mind, but it totally kind of changes it for me a little bit,
I mean,
but in a good
this
way.
entire first chapter
Like,
was like a fucking like nightmare for me. It's just like I
Oh,
feel
the
like I
back and
have
forth?
had this nightmare before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Just the whole thing with the corporate and the
Oh,
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I know the feeling.
yeah.
Jessica sounds like a snob. Like,
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
like her.
yeah, she's
I'm glad
she's a
she's
bitch.
gone very soon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Who do you so do you like Richard more than Jessica? Is that how people
Yes.
feel?
Yeah.
If
I mean,
if I
you
had to
kind of
pick one
have
to
to.
like.
Richard's more
certainly been set
relatable.
up to be more likable.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
would
he's like every man.
I say Richard is more relatable, but he is unreliable as shit, and also seems to be a bit of a pushover kind of, or he just go like,
Yeah.
is he even
Yeah, yeah,
living?
yeah.
Very,
Is
very
he
goes
living
with the
his own
flow.
life? He's just kind of going along with everybody else's everything else, and
But then everybody hates Jessica. Like his coworkers and his friends all hate Jessica. But
Yeah.
he's like, I love her. Blah blah blah. She's a fucking bitch. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
She sounds like one.
But
They-
all of
Yeah.
it was, he always answered it with, but she's pretty and it's cool,
Yeah.
and then you'll like her eventually.
but she's
You'll
ambitious.
like her eventually. Yep.
Mm.
It's yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I do wonder
I
what
think-
she sees in him. Maybe if he is just someone she perceives that she can control. Because when they have some of the
It-
more tender moments, it's like, oh, they they really like
Maybe
each
there is
other.
something there.
Yeah, but then it's like, what do
You
they
kind of
even have in
described it in the
common?
first one,
Yep.
right? Like their
Yeah.
first interaction in France or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
they kind of go within. It's like, oh, oops, and then it was like serendipitous and oh,
Mm-hmm.
you're
Yeah.
cool.
I think
I
I
But
don't
she,
like this normally thing.
Does also give her perspective a little bit. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's
Mhm.
nice and funny, and she can fix him.
I think
Mm.
that
Mm.
at
Yeah.
the end of
Like
the day is
literally,
what it
she can
is.
fix him.
Yep. Is that she has probably like this life of hers planned out, very exacting, as we have seen in
Mhm.
these like few like pages that we've already had of her, where she's expected to do X, Y, and Z in a very like this is how you live your life, and having like a man that she can consider a project and has a few quirks but is willing to go along with this very exacting plan that she has for her life. I think that's the biggest draw. Not necessarily his personality or who he is just in general, but that he fits that particular mold for her.
Mm. I think it's
I'm
some.
just kind of picturing the alternate universe where they do get married, and now she's like, "Great, now it's kid
No.
time."
Yep.
It probably would have
Yep,
happened if
exactly.
this situation with Dor didn't happen, because I don't think he would have stopped anything or expressed any kind of opinion at any point. And I think Jessica mentions at some point in the chapter, that she saw a lot of potential in Richard,
Mhm.
and so but that means that she doesn't necessarily fully like him or accept him as he currently is. It's more so, oh yeah, you can, we'll get him
Yeah,
going
it's
and
yeah.
he'll do this and do that, and yeah, it'll be good.
She sees him more as like I feel like a car that you fix up
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
This
What'd
is
you
an
guys
than
HGTV,
like a
honey.
person. Yep.
What'd you guys think about the scene where Dor put her hand on Mr. Ross and said open?
Thought that was pretty interesting.
That was
Just
wild, yeah.
opened up his
Rib
chest
cage,
cavity.
rib cage,
Yeah.
open.
Yeah,
Well,
she's not limited to walls as doors. She can do it to bodies as
anything.
well.
Yeah,
I've
anything is a
never
door if you're brave
considered my
enough.
stone in the door, and now I am terrified.
Yep. Yep. I think that's a
Oh,
really interesting like direction to take this. Clearly, it's some supernatural power that she has, and like
Mm-hmm.
shows us from the get go that it's not just inanimate objects that she could use this power on.
Mm-hmm.
It's an expansion of her powers and giving us a peek of what is possible with what she
Yeah.
can do.
yeah.
Yeah.
The whole first chapter, I don't know why it reminded me of the James McAvoy movie. I can't remember now. With Angelina Jolie and a bunch of gunfighting, and I'm really mad that I'm forgetting it.
Wanted?
Thank you. Wanted.
You're welcome.
Like the
Group
whole
effort.
scene, like, or the whole like part in the chapter in the first chapter where he's got to do like the TPS reports, or I forgot what they're called.
Yeah.
But yeah, when he's doing all that, it's same kind of thing. It's like regular guy doing regular thing, and then he's gonna get thrown into the universe. So it was easier to visualize it kind of that way.
Mhm.
Now I don't know. Now my visualization of the main character is James McAvoy, and he's playing screwed up, but it like kind of works still. So I've been now I'm adding all the music that Macaulay's using and all that, and now I have
Well,
my visual movie that I can use when I'm reading it.
if it helps, Keanu Reeves was also in a similar situation in The Matrix, and Keanu Reeves is a little cooler, so maybe you can picture him as Keanu Reeves.
Oh.
I can flip flop between the two. It's cool.
He is described as
Just a
a handsome fellow who does not perhaps realize that he is handsome, that type, in the
So I
Yeah.
think
prologue.
Keanu Reeves might fit that.
Please, where are these doors?
Oh my god.
Now he's Point Break.
Guys, come on.
Oh no.
Okay. Any final thoughts on chapter 1?
I don't think we got to touch much on Mr. Kroop and
Yes,
his,
yes.
Yes.
Mr.
Very
Vandemar.
Yes.
intriguing.
What do you guys think of them? What do you think they are? Obviously, we've been given a lot of subtle hints that they're some kind of strange, magical, potentially immortal something from this chapter. Dude eats rats.
Yep.
Boy, howdy, he sure do.
Yep.
The illustration beginning of the chapter is supposed to be them, right?
Visceral.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think so. Let
Okay.
me turn to it.
Like that's why I was like looking. I was like, okay, so
Yeah,
they're just
show us the
they're more
illustrated
ghoulish.
version.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yes.
For
Okay,
us
so
poor
here's
people.
here is Richard Mayhew. I'm holding it up to the screen. This is Richard Mayhew in the prologue. So the kind of curly haired fellow. And
Ah, I
then
pictured him a lot different.
let's see the picture. Yes, this one is good. So this is Mr. Croup and Mr. Vandemar. So the taller one is Mr. Vandemar,
Ew.
and the shorter one is Mr. Croup.
Ew.
He's giving
Yeah.
Peter
The
Pettigrew.
Fox and the Wolf, I think, is a great. Yeah. The
Unfortunately, my Twitch is like shitting out on me right now. But I would like to mention that I really appreciated the line where he's like, "Well, this is how you tell them apart," and then at the end, actually,
Oh,
they don't look
yeah.
anything alike at all.
Yeah.
Yep.
Funny.
Yep.
For some reason, I pictured both of them because I don't have the illustrated version, but I pictured them like in the 1920s, like apparel. I don't know why, but like they're
Bowler
like
hat, something like
the
that.
bowler hat, yeah, and like
I can
the
absolutely
suspenders.
see them with a bowler hat, 100%.
And they're
Yeah.
like the 1920s or like the early 19s, 20s, like
Sort of-
mobster kind of people
Yeah,
Yeah.
from New
mafioso
York.
kind
Yeah,
of
that's what I
vibe.
pictured. Yeah.
Couple oi
Yeah.
type
Oi.
of people.
Yeah, that's the only accent I can hear them in
Mhm.
now.
Yeah.
I just think of them as like villains from Fable.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
very Cockney, like
Yeah.
gangster
Oh,
British.
man.
Very dangerous pair of individuals.
Hello.
Hello.
What have we here? Kind of like that.
I literally was telling Geraint earlier, I was like, I feel like I can voice all of the characters in this book because the Australian accent I do, it's just like, you go up from that a little bit and you have like a British Cockney accent. I mean, they're very similar.
They're very close. They're very similar, yeah.
Yeah.
Are you gonna
Something,
be using it in
some,
the chapters?
if I quote things, I might.
Okay.
But did anybody else really enjoy, like we were talking about the writing, and it made me remember, I feel like I'm not sure how his name is pronounced. Neil Gaiman. What
Neil
he's
Gaiman,
what
yeah.
he's doing, where it's from Richard's perspective, and he'll randomly say, this like he was about to blah blah blah, the sort of thing that Jessica never had time for. Like a lot of his perspective is
Yeah.
from Jessica's opinion, which does such a great job at showing that he's very much kind of a passive player in his life, and he's kind of
100%.
I
Yeah.
really appreciated how much he was able to relay in those moments by just adding,
Yeah.
he mentions Jessica, but he's not really saying anything about Jessica. He's providing a commentary on Richard. And he does that throughout the reading where he says something completely different than what he's actually saying. And I really appreciated that. I like that in his style.
Yeah. Yep, he has a really, really fun, like, writing style that it does exactly what you're talking about, where he puts so much information into, like, these, like, short paragraphs.
And it's indirect, like the way that we get it is
exactly. Yeah, like you're learning not only about Richard but also Jessica with just like very few lines used in a way that is so like character building.
Yeah.
In a
It
way
doesn't
that
treat you dumb.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like he expects his audience to actually pick up on that shit.
Yeah, I'm really hoping
It's not
that
like, and Jessica was a bitch. It's like,
Yeah.
you can infer Jessica was a bitch by the way she thinks of which.
Yeah, it is the quintessential show don't tell.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for it to be like you're gonna have those kinds of thoughts where it's from his perspective, but then his perspective is completely wrong and it just messes something up. I'm like waiting for a moment that's gonna be like that. That would be really cool.
Yeah, or like where it starts to actually show like more of his personality rather than like the ones that are around him, because as you said, Killa, he's very passive right now. Like, all of the opinions that we're getting are opinions that were formed by other people that he has taken on.
Yeah, the first opinion we've seen him have of his own is that he doesn't think they should leave Dora on the sidewalk, and Jessica does. That is
Yep,
the first
exactly.
opinion
Yeah.
of his that we see.
Yeah.
He like stood up for it. Like, he was like, "No, this
Exactly.
is wrong. We can't leave her here."
Yeah.
You know?
Like,
And
I
of all
mean,
the
I guess
opinions
at
to
least
have,
she's willing to like call an ambulance, but that's
the fact that he had to pull teeth for that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to
Oh, I was
chapter
gonna
2.
say,
Oh, go ahead.
was anyone wondering how Dor was traveling? Because at first I thought it was time travel, but then I was wondering, like, is it interdimensional? Like, what the fuck's going on here?
It's locational, I
I
think.
think it's locational, as well as maybe a bit of time travel, like what we get into, like between now and, I think we ended on right before chapter 5, like the inference of some of the stuff that we're gonna get into, like, feels like, oh, this particular thing was pulled from this particular time. So
Yeah.
I think it might be a mix of the two.
Alright, I guess I just meant like during that chapter I was super confused because
Yeah.
It almost
I thought it
kind of
was
sounds
time
like a
travel first.
pocket dimension to me.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking, like a meshing
Like,
of dimensions, and some people can be in both, but some people can only be in one.
Kinda.
Yeah.
I can't tell if it's a physical, I don't know if it's Diagon Alley or if it's like part of London yet. You know, that's what I don't understand quite.
Yeah.
But it is very Diagon Alley esque with more
Yeah.
rats.
Yep. I'm really interested to see if he goes into detail about how it works.
I hope he does.
So, yeah.
Yes. Okay. Let's go on to chapter 2. Richard awakes from a bad dream the next morning to see Dor. She is surprised to find out they're in quote-unquote London above. He shows her to the first aid kit in the bathroom when there's someone at his door. He dreads that it may be Jessica, but instead, it is two men, Mr. Krupp and Mr. Vandemar. They claim they're looking for their runaway sister. Mr. Vandemar forces himself in and heads to the bathroom, but Dor is gone and everything is clean. Just as they leave, Richard gets a call from Jessica that he is unable to answer due to Mr. Krupp having cut the phone cord earlier. She breaks up with him through voicemail and tells him and his lame duck to rot in hell. This is a very sad moment for Richard, but life goes on. Dor catches a pigeon and sends it off with a message to Marquis de Carabas. A short while later, they receive a response via rat. Dor sends Richard to meet de Carabas, and he arranges a deal on her behalf to help get her home and fix her up with a bodyguard. It is de Carabas' plan to get Dor to the floating market in 2 days' time and hide her until then. Richard tries to ask questions, but he is told that he is already in trouble, and the less he knows, the better. De Carabas guides Richard down into a dark, dank underground tunnel, and then up an old rusty ladder that, in a flash, opens onto the side of a skyscraper. At the top, they meet Old Bailey and his feathery coat. De Carabas gives Old Bailey a silver box to look after as insurance, and Old Bailey begrudgingly agrees. De Carabas takes Richard to a staircase in the central tower of the skyscraper, which heads downward and opens up into the janitor's closet in his apartment. De Carabas greets Dor, and Dor tells Richard that she is leaving, not to worry, that there is no way to contact her, and that she is sorry. Initial thoughts on this chapter?
This was the first chapter where I was like, oh, okay, So the beast is going to be important.
Yeah. The
Yep.
boar.
The
Yeah.
boar,
Some type of
especially
forewarning.
especially in the illustrated edition, where they have a big
Mhm.
ass drawing of it,
Oh yeah. Like
and it's come up
Show the
twice.
drawing.
Oh, yes,
Yep.
yes. Let me
yeah.
find the
It
Or
felt
references
very.
to it, yeah.
It feels very like Miyazaki Mononoke. Like this particular drawing
Mhm.
to me.
Yeah.
It feels very Miyamoto Zelda Ganon to me.
Yep. Yeah. Both of those I think are very accurate.
Okay.
Feels very Hideo Kojima. No, it doesn't.
Where's
It
the
doesn't.
board?
No, it doesn't. What are you talking about?
I wanted to be part of the group.
So here's the big scary boar, and then there's also pictures of, let's see, De Carabas in here. So here's De Carabas. Oops, that's my tassel. He's got beautiful hairs.
Is that an added effect?
Yeah, yes.
Should
So that's-
show how derpy Dora looks.
Oh my god.
Hold
Well,
on, hold
she's
on.
on the cover.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's
she is
true.
on the
That's
cover of
true.
this book.
Oh, she's right here.
Yeah.
Here's a picture of Dora. I don't think she looks. Okay, she's
Oh,
got a
dumb.
hair piece as well. Hold on
She's
now.
a little derpy. Look,
I feel like
She is.
where
I
those eyes are.
feel like the art is very quintessential,
Mhm.
like
I like
90s
it. I like the
London, which I really
stylized.
enjoy. Yeah.
Let's see,
I
where's
did not picture Dora being like that, looking like that. But again, I don't have the
Here's
illustrated version. I
Yeah.
totally
old
The
pictured
the
it.
old
artwork looks like
Bailey's, the feather coat
sketches in a
guy.
wizard's book.
Yeah,
That's
I
what it
Yeah,
looks like.
appreciate
it's very
Remind
evocative
me
of
of some
that.
of the old Harry Potter sketches.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder who the
Nice.
illustrator. Oh, Chris Riddell.
Yeah, Chris.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
very
Tom Riddle's
Arya
brother.
Stark, modern.
Oh man, duh.
Where I'm going with it.
We got to speak parcel tongue to this book and see what happens.
Oh man,
You like that?
perfect. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got it. Got it in one.
So what did you guys think of the world building that was going on here?
I love that shit.
Oh,
I
it
like
was
it.
delightful.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I felt like he did
Like,
an
yeah.
excellent job, and that even though we were going to so many different places, like I did not struggle to follow along. Like I could understand how we were moving and appearing in these different places. It felt very cohesive, even though it's, kind of abstract how everything's connected.
Yeah, very very piecemeal, but he managed to string them together in a way that like flowed and made sense for us to read.
It's like it's so
Right.
crazy because like you can go from seeing like images of like black, like it's complete darkness, but then like he describes everything building up so well that you can actually picture it as it's happening. So you're like, oh crap, like it's crazy. Like one thing you could be looking at the darkness, and then next thing you can picture now like him going up the ladder with what's his face. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, what is this? Yep.
It was definitely easy to follow. Like I like that. I like that aspect.
Yeah.
I'm totally enchanted by the use of animals here. That
Oh man, the
that
rats
they can
and
be
the pigeons,
spoken
yes.
to and all that. I
Absolutely.
really like that, and I hope there's more like explanation on how that works later. Hopefully there will be.
Yeah.
But yeah, it feels very magical to read. I will say it's been a
Mhm.
long time since I've read a book like this. I've been really enjoying it.
Yeah. And like the rats and the pigeons aren't the only instances of animals being referenced. Mr. Krupp and Vandermar have been described multiple times now as like foxy or wolfish or like having these animalistic qualities to them. So and then also the pigeon guy that they made on top of the roof is literally like draped in feathers, and I don't know, I can't remember if it's described as like more of a Howl's Moving Castle-esque kind of deal, where it's like the feathers are a part of him, or if this is something that he has created and is wearing.
I mean, looking at the
Oh, he
artwork in
reminds
the
me of
book,
the vulture.
he has like bird legs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He looks like a bird.
Yeah.
I think
So-
it's from Richard's perspective, because I think Richard is the one who doesn't know, or at least he doesn't want to admit that it might actually be him and not some weird freak coat.
Yeah, I think you're right on that.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah, Old Bailey.
Mm-hmm.
is the character.
Like,
Is it bad that I read Old Bailey and I thought of Old Greg
I
immediately?
thought the same.
Yeah, but drink Bailey's from a shoe.
Yeah.
Also, I think that the silver box that he gave to Old Bailey might be important later because
Yeah.
he was very hesitant to take it. He was like, "No, I'm not
Mhm.
going to do that." And he's like, "You owe me a very, very big favor." And even then, he was
Yep.
like, "I don't really want to, though."
Yeah.
Very
Like the world
intriguing.
building. Yeah.
Mhm.
And how many times I didn't count, but how many times was he told stop asking questions? You don't want to know. The less you know the better.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
like literally every paragraph.
Yeah, which is like, okay, that's just making me want to know more.
I mean, that Marquez guy is also very blunt and kind of mean, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Seems
Yeah.
like kind of a douchebag, but kind of does what he needs to get things done.
Mhm.
Type of person.
Even later in chapter 4, we see more of that side of
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
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 Out for himself.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Very soldier for hire. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like a mercenary.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
I'm
dealing in favors.
I'm curious if we will get a vibe or a feel or an explanation as to what motivates people in this magical dimension, whatever is going on. Like what why does Day Carabas do what he does? Why are people trying to kill Dor? Like what's motivating people in this other world? You know what I mean? Because we have no idea why they do what they do so far. It seems that their motivations are probably very different than like regular people or people in London above. So I'm pretty curious to see if we get some information there as to why people are the way they are, what they're doing, what they are even.
Yeah.
Honestly, with all the rats, it makes me question what does Florida below look like? Is it just a bunch of
It's just a
alligators?
bunch of lizards.
Is there a lot of water?
Yeah. I do like that he's not giving us all of these explanations right at the beginning. Like he's allowing us to be introduced in like a slow roll to this world and isn't just dogpiling us with information about like,
Mhm.
well, back in 300 BC and and going along the line. I like that he's allowing us to keep the mystery of what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It helps that it's
We're
been
just as
through
lost.
the main character's perspective the whole time.
Yes, exactly.
So then you learn as he learns, and then because of all of the opinions that he then formulates,
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot more natural.
Yes. Any other thoughts on chapter 2?
Besides Jessica, no.
Ha!
Besides Jessica Flucker.
Oh, Jessica.
Oh,
The
Jessica.
only
There
thought
was
in this book.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
no.
There was one line that really stuck with me when Vandermar and Kroop basically like force themselves into Richard's apartment
Mhm.
and like I like really set the tone of like Richard realizing, oh fuck, these guys are dangerous.
When he's felt like a surge of fear or realized he
yeah,
should
like-
probably be scared. Uh-huh.
Yeah, when the exact line was Richard found himself wondering whether Mr. Vandermar was the kind of person to whom you said don't hurt me, and if he was, whether it would do any good. Like that just like did such a good job of just like setting the tone for like, okay, we know where his mind is right now in an understandably terrified position.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to be more dogpiled with information, but I know how this. I do actually have one thought about Jessica, though,
Mm-hmm.
because I know that this was apparently a TV show, and just knowledge from watching TV, I almost wonder if we will get a moment where it turns out Jessica's not so bad after all, or if she's just
I
gonna be
wondered that.
forgotten and he gets a new girlfriend.
Yeah,
Because
I
I feel like
wondered
it could
that
go either way.
because they didn't frame Jessica in a way that was supposed to make her like supremely hateable. Like she has moments of, like Richard's memories or whatever that the reasons why he likes her and stuff and their dynamic. So I honestly I thought the same thing. Like, I wonder if Jessica's gonna come back in somewhere, or maybe she is just like a pawn in the early storytelling. But yeah, I had a similar thought.
No, she's gonna
Because yeah,
take the
she
TV
is
throat.
bitchy, but she's also not like irredeemably bitchy. She's
Yeah, I didn't think so either. I
knocked him down a
didn't.
few pegs.
Yeah.
I
bitchy.
didn't hate her that much. I thought that the relationship dynamic between Richard and Jessica probably wasn't that great. I think they were probably pretty naive in their own rights when it came to their relationship. But I thought she was naive and maybe a little egotistical mixed with the stress of whatever important meeting or something.
It felt
But
a little bit
yeah, but nothing
like I was
unforgivable. I could see
yeah.
her being reintroduced in some other way later, but I'm not sure if that's going to happen. But
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
the immediate breakup was pretty much like, okay, she's not in this book anymore.
yeah.
She's
That's
not
what I'm
I
important
saying. I
don't
could
know
anymore.
really
about
see it
that.
going either way. Like, yeah, it's a quick
Yeah.
exit for a side character we're not supposed to care about, but I could also see it being like a setup for she's just gonna get knocked down a few pegs and suck a little less.
Mm-hmm.
I
I
mean,
Oh, I
think
thought it
she
was
told
gonna
him to
be the
rot in hell.
opposite.
You
Yeah.
know,
I have
that's
Like,
seen
what.
worse shit in, romance novels and movies, so
so. I want to say, going back to the previous chapter, we know that Jessica's parents very openly disapproved of her dating Richard,
Mm-hmm.
which means that clearly she had some sort of deep feeling for him.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I think throwing away the relationship to showing the book for her to not come back would be make her completely irrelevant as a side character because their relationship I don't feel like contributed much to the story.
Yeah.
I think Richard could have just been working an office job. He was dead, just working fucking 12-hour shifts, didn't have any social life, and all he did was work, and then he finds this girl. The relationship could have been non-existent and the story still could have gone on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
right.
I think she
That's why
served
I
to
think
show
it's
like
gonna be
his
that.
issues.
Yeah.
Mm.
But like
Sorry.
there's no. Oh no, you're good. It was just I was just gonna mention that the way like assuming that she, everything has its place, that she's gonna come back. Maybe not as like a pivotal character later down the road or anything like that, but then she'll be part of like a pivotal moment. It might be something as small as like he sees her again, and then she has a new man. Hey, this is my new guy. He's better than you in all the ways. Messes with his brain or something, or flips a switch that he needs to wake up or change like how his character is to use as like a developing
she
plot device or something.
she Oh wait, I think that might be chapter 3, never mind. I have
I
a thought, but
think
it might be chapter 3. I'm trying to remember.
I think if she comes back, it would be in the context of a tool for either the Carabas guy or Group and Vandemar, or
Oh.
even
That's a good point.
like even
Yeah.
Dor or somebody like that. I think if she comes back, it'd be in the context of like a tool of some kind, or like some kind of asset for somebody to use against somebody else,
Leverage.
or yeah, or even to like
Yeah.
help them accomplish something. Right? It could be through Dor, it could be through Carabas, it could be. That's what
Yeah.
I would think. Besides that, I don't expect her to come back as like a romantic interest. This book doesn't
Mm.
really
Oh,
strike
yeah.
me as the one that's like heavily romance focused. So I don't think there'll be like a
Oh,
happily ever
Richard, I was
after
wrong to be such a jerk
romantic.
to you.
Yeah.
Please take me back. Yeah, I don't think that'll happen either, but
Hmm. Yeah, that is interesting because that's one thing Jessica's character could function well as later is some kind of like to manipulate Richard by threatening her or something. Um, yeah, it's interesting. Any other thoughts on chapter 2?
Not for me.
Okay, let us carry on. So, chapter 3. Richard spends Sunday trying to call Jessica, but to no avail. Monday, he has a treacherous journey to work and realizes some people barely see him, and people who should know him do not remember him, including Gary and Jessica. When he gets back home, he takes a bath, and during his bath, people enter his apartment to tour it, and they don't see or hear him at all. He packs a bag and heads to get some money from an ATM. But he finds that he cannot get money out of the ATM. He offers it to a nearby beggar who responds he'd rather have 60 pence, and Richard is shocked the beggar can see him. He mentions the floating market and a few other things, and the beggar, Iliaster, whisks him away to his boss, the Lord Ratspeaker, who pulls out a knife and places it at Richard's throat. Thoughts on chapter 3?
Heavy Addie LaRue vibes.
Yes,
Yep,
yes, I was about to say
I
it
was
gave me Addie
flashbacking,
LaRue
brother.
vibes.
I was like, I've seen this before. Where's the God of Darkness? Where is he, that bastard?
I was like, hold on, I read this book.
Even though
I need
Dor
to
isn't
read that
really
book.
like a deity,
do.
it just seems like when he came across her, it's kind of like roles reverse, kind of like Addie LaRue came across the deity, and then she's she gets the wish granted, and she's all of a sudden forgotten. It's just it's like kind of like he comes across the door, and then all of a sudden he's forgotten. So it's kind of it gave me very Addie LaRue, like sucked back into that book, and I was like, oh.
What I thought was interesting is there seems to be some kind of distinction between people who knew Richard before and people who didn't know Richard. It seems like people who didn't know Richard do not see or hear him at all, but people who did know Richard, like Gary, Sylvia, Jessica, they see him and interact with him, but aren't sure who he is.
Mm-hmm.
Very
Yeah,
Addie
that's
LaRue
odd.
vibes.
He's the only one who
Yep.
even sort of knows his name. Which is
And
the
I'm
other
I'm
reason I think
curious.
he might come back.
I'm curious at what point did that effect take place?
I was
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
Was
wondering
it when
that.
he entered Neverwhere and came back? Or was it before that?
Or was it when Dor had left, when he completed, like when Richard completed all the tasks for her, and then she finally
Yeah.
got guided back, is when all of that took place. Like, it doesn't really give a description of when it happened, but it definitely happens after Dor has left his flat.
Yeah. And also,
But
oh, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, was it this chapter that he realizes she knew that was gonna
That's
happen
what I
to
was
him?
going to say
Yep.
is he, in this chapter is when he reflects that he thinks Dor knew this would happen because of how she, like, kind of vaguely but genuinely apologized to him before she left. Yeah, he does have that realization in chapter 3.
It's like, damn, bitch, why don't you tell her some stuff then?
Yeah, what the hell?
You know, this is gonna happen.
Yep.
Like,
Or maybe
Yeah,
it could get
I'm-
even worse. Maybe it's like the level of information he had resulted in this level of forgetting and invisibility, and maybe
I-
there's some stage after this.
Yeah, that's kind of where my mind went was if he had just obviously if he had just left Dor where she was, this wouldn't be happening. But where would it have started, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hard to say at what point. I'm thinking it's when he turned around 3 times and walked into Neverwhere.
yeah, that's my thought. Is that's when it's
That
when he
was
went
like
to go meet the guy.
the
Yeah.
transition.
The point
I
of no
want-
return.
It makes me curious to think, like, if he goes in, like, the deeper he goes into, like, the further, like, just kind of like he's overseeing. I don't know. It just kind of makes me wonder, like if
How,
if you dig deeper.
Yeah, if he goes any deeper, clearly some of the people that we've are meeting in this chapter haven't been to London Above in a very long time, and I'm curious if that's because of the level of entrenchment that they have, if they're unable to go back or find a way back.
Mm-hmm. So maybe
Right,
there's
essentially
still some way
everything's
for
done in-
Richard to go back.
Yeah, because like
Yeah.
everything's done in like the darkness or whatever. It's really in the dark when it appears, so it just kind of seems like, yeah, the deeper that you go into, it's like more hard. It's more difficult for you to surface back up to London above.
Yeah.
On that note, I noticed Vandermeer, and for some reason I can't remember the other guy's name.
Mr. Krupp.
Group.
Yes, they always make their bases in the lowest place possible. You notice the description when I believe they make their base in an abandoned hospital. They describe how many stairways they go down deep, deep below the earth.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're trying to decrease the odds of like humans disturbing it, because if like they cannot see or interact with normal humans or something, then kind of like how people immediately started coming into Richard's apartment to buy it, like they don't want to be somewhere where that could happen to them. And also thinking about how they may or may not be able to interact with normal people makes me think that the fact that Richard answered the door to them like makes
Yeah.
me wonder if they knew he had interacted with Door just because of the fact that Richard could see them, but also maybe it's different rules for them because they had flyers and stuff.
Everybody got flyers.
They
Yeah.
also mentioned that weird thing about how they followed her blood, so I'm sure she
Yeah,
was
she's got
still
a
like
scent.
leaking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so because it did, because I remember when they walked into his apartment, one of them says, "I could smell her."
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of just, I think she's got a scent and they can smell it on her.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I just pictured like one of those like Tim Burton like hallway transition cameras of how deep they were in the hospital. That's what I was picturing as it was describing how many flights of stairs, what it looked like. It was like a camera shooting through until it reached their room
Mm-hmm.
to show the fucking disgusting. I mean, if all the waste is there, I can only imagine
Mm-hmm.
how awful that inside of that room must look for them. Comfortable living there.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on chapter 3? Okay. So chapter 4.
oh no.
Before Richard could be killed, the same rat from his apartment showed up, Master Longtail, and instructed the rat speakers to get him to the floating market. A young rat speaker named Anesthesia is given the job. They're friendly, and he learns her story as they travel. Meanwhile, Mr. Krupp and Mr. Vandemar receive a call from their boss, who is not happy Door's still alive. They create a plan to recruit the best potential bodyguard to their side and then get him, a guy named Varney, to get hired by Door and allow Mr. Krupp and Mr. Vandemar to kill Door when the time comes. Door and De Carabas have returned to her doorless home to search for her father's journal, with hope there will be some clue to help them figure out who has placed a hit on Door. They find a magical/high-tech video journal that shows Lord Portico's final moments, frantically urging Door to go to Islington, trust Islington, and believe in Islington. They leave as it is time to go to the floating market. Richard and Anesthesia join up with a tall, dark, and beautiful woman who is also needing to go to the floating market. They also happen to run into Varney, who knocks down Richard, who is then defended by Anesthesia. As the three cross the bridge into the floating market, they are completely overcome with darkness. There are hallucinations and scary sounds, and once across the bridge, Richard compares the experience to a haunted house. That is, until he realizes anesthesia has been taken by the darkness, leaving behind only a piece of her quartz bead necklace. Richard is in shock, but follows the mysterious woman deeper into the floating market. So, initial thoughts on chapter 4.
Damn.
Anesthesia,
Oh,
you were
man.
such a bro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I really
right. She was
liked
a real
her.
one.
Damn. Yeah, she
I
protected
was
him.
really yeah.
He
I
did
was
a
hoping she'd stick around for longer, but
Yeah.
the author did a good job at making me care about her in a very short period of time. There was just the right amount of information, just the right amount of interactions.
endearing, like
Mhm.
very
And
endearing.
the fact that she
Yeah.
was like kind of scared to cross the bridge too, and then that happened to her sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
She
At
was
least-
scared to take him, but she was willing to do it, and like that. And then she just gets taken by the darkness. I was so sad. I was like, oh no, she was facing his fears to protect Richard, and she's gone now. Like no.
And now
Yeah.
justice for anesthesia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm buying
we
that
have
bumper
to.
sticker
He
right
has
now.
to.
Maybe she's
Richard
maybe
has
she's
to
still
succeed,
alive.
if only for her.
It was good, their interactions, because it did show you that like Richard is a good person. He was like
yeah,
genuinely interested in her story and got her to open up and everything.
yeah.
You know.
Mhm.
Starting to get like pieces of his actual personality and not this passive like vehicle for the story that we've had up to this point.
Yeah.
And
Just seems like a genuinely nice guy.
and Anesthesia, she was a pretty emotionally available character. Like she, didn't like she wasn't playing hard to get as far as like warming up to him and, becoming friends. Like she was pretty open to him and helped him along the way when he was scared to do this or go do that, like, going down into the hole without light or things like that. And yeah, it's
Very
very sad.
precocious for an 11-year-old.
Yeah. However old she is
shit.
now. It made it seem like she was 11 when she ran away, but maybe is older now, but I'm not 100% sure.
This is Neverland rules.
It's mentioned that she seems either around the age that Dor is, or maybe slightly younger.
I think it said that she was older than Dor, now that you mention, because I think
Or
that's...
Oh, okay.
Let me
Yeah.
see if I can...
Yeah, I might have gotten them mixed up.
Are there any illustrations?
Oh, yes, let me take a gander
There is
here.
like on the side of the page, on one of the
Let's
pages.
see, chapter
Ugh.
4.
When this Wi-Fi gets its shit back together again, I'm gonna have to go look through the stream so I can see all of the images.
Oh, here's a illustration of Varney when Mr. Krupp and Mr. Vandemar came to force him to agree to be their like double agent guy. So that he's
Gosh,
all tatted up with his like sword that also has a little sword at the bottom, and he's got swords everywhere, lots of weapons.
He loves weapons.
Yes.
all these
Also-
illustrations is not what I pictured at all.
He has a psychic ability, which is something new.
Oh yes.
Telekinesis.
Yes, that's right. That was introduced too. I totally forgot. Oh, here's the
And
bridge.
we learned that Mr.
So-
Krupp has super fast speed and reaction.
So this is a bridge. It's quite
that looks like
nice.
that looks like the Irithyll bridge from Dark Souls 3.
Yes.
I thought
Yeah.
the same
It's
thing.
pretty cool.
I was like, what is
looking.
this, Elden
much
Ring?
pretty.
And it's underground. This huge thing is like underground. It's very cool. We get a
And
tiny
I love yeah.
a tiny picture of the tall, dark, and beautiful woman here on the side.
Ooh,
that
yeah,
they,
yeah.
That they meet.
See, that's how I pictured her.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And he does describe her as the most beautiful woman he had ever seen.
Mm-hmm. Get out of here, Jessica. He's moving on. Oh. Here.
I need to buy that illustrated version so I could see the pictures.
So this is a picture of Richard holding the quartz bead after realizing that anesthesia is gone.
Justice for
I mean,
anesthesia.
she did eat his banana. I mean,
But she offered
She had it coming.
some cat thigh, so what,
yeah, yeah, that was kind of funny.
what do you want
He's
from
like,
her?
you like cat?
She's just doing her best, okay?
Mm-hmm.
She faced her fears for him.
Yeah.
All
I
for a
hope she's not
banana.
gone completely because we don't exactly know
Yeah, what
what
happens?
happens.
Yeah.
And it makes me think like where you go once the darkness takes you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
He Richard also touches on like how who wondered like who built it, when, how it could fit underneath London. Is like, my guy, I don't think we're in London anymore.
Yeah.
For real.
There is a strong chance of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like interdimensional at this point. Before it was kind of like, okay, this is probably under London. Now it's like, okay, we're in a different plane of existence at this point.
So I haven't like read these books before, but I have had like I guess read like their descriptions or something, but like V.E. Schwab's like Colors of London's, you know, her non-Addie books, it kind of almost reminds me of that in a way, despite being, 20 years older. You know, where
Okay.
it's kind of they're on top of each other, but they're not, and it's also
Oh.
kind of pocket dimension-y.
Yeah, I could see
Like
that.
I said, I haven't read the books. That's just the vibe that I got from reading the description that somebody, approximate knowledge of many things.
Yes.
What
That was from Adventure Time, right? Yeah, I think so.
what did you guys think of when Dor and De Carabas went to her house and they were getting like flashes of memories of everything that happened? Do you have any theories as to how they were even able to get into that house and kill them when this is like magic that seems very specific to Dor's family?
I have no
Maybe they
idea.
figured
Yeah.
out. Maybe they
It sounds
figured
like a
out or had
bloodline
an inside
power.
man.
Yep.
Sounds like a
Ooh, I think
bloodline
there's
So
power.
I think
De
there's an inside
Carabas was
man.
able to go in with her, so maybe they
Oh, shit.
somehow managed to sneak in, like
Or another family
everyone's
member.
Yeah. So yeah, there's
Yeah.
those two options. She also goes into some detail about like how her grandfather built this place, and like all of the rooms that we see in these pictures don't have any doors, but that's not to say that a door wasn't made in one of these like however like numerous places that have been tied to this one area, you know.
Cool. Also, the device that the father left a message on kind of gave me steampunky vibes. I've been
That's
trying to
exactly what
picture
I
like
imagined.
what kind of like visual style everything is. I mean, it's also very gritty, dark, grim, but I think it's also kind of steampunky in a lot of ways.
Is there an illustration of it?
There is a little bit on one of the
I mean,
pages.
I'll have to go check back in the stream later, but
Let me see
just
if
flash
I
it and I
can
can
Show
see it
us
tomorrow.
poor people.
On page 95.
95. I see it. It's kind of
It looked very
there's words there as well, but you could basically get the idea. It's the shape of it, that it's kind of ornate. There's glass and brass and copper and wood, I think. So a very interesting device.
steampunk or treasure planety a little bit.
Yeah. Very much like the map from Treasure Planet, I would say. What did you guys think of De Carabas's character? So we've had some, we've acquired some information on this guy now, and I can't get a good read on him. I can't really tell if he's a good guy, bad guy, what his motivations are. Thoughts?
I
To
don't trust
me, to me he just seems very very greedy in a sense. Like he's not really there to protect her in a sense. He's more so waiting to get whatever
favor.
Dor owes him. Yeah, his favor. And so I just think he's greedy in a sense, but he's not really trying to protect her. He's just trying to get paid.
Yeah,
He's
I
gonna
think
get
he's
bought off.
he's
Your
neither good
code
nor
is
bad.
above everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Also, like
looking out
that
for himself.
That scene where he just straight up takes her dad's watch
Yeah.
while
What a
she's
He's not gonna
power
need
move.
it. Like
He's
what?
just like, he's not using it anymore, and I'm just like, so damn, is that your favor then?
What
Like,
the hell?
I
Yeah.
mean, no,
Yeah.
obviously, but
I think that might have been the moment when I was like, okay, I don't think this guy is a friend, but maybe he's not an
Yeah.
enemy either, but I'm not sure what he is. But yeah, that was like crazy, sad.
He's just there to do his job. Like
He's
he's there
like-
Yeah.
to he's just doing a basically job, like his job. Just he's getting paid to do something, and I think that's what
Yeah.
he takes it as. And then when she no longer needs him or whatever,
oh, like the
you know,
fucking
he's
Antivan
different.
Crows in Dragon Age, they will do
Oh
anything to
yes.
fulfill their contract, and this is his contract
Hmm.
in a way.
I mean, I've been playing Veilguard, so yeah, I can agree with that. I'm well versed
I
at
have
this
not
point.
been able to finish Veilguard because of the moving stuff, and I am very mad about it.
But
I'm
in
like,
I'm sorry.
no, that was off topic. It's fine.
Oh, that in a sense, I feel like when she starts to have all these flashbacks, he's able to like calm her down and get her to collect herself and snap her back into reality. So in a sense, like
Mhm.
he does find a way to calm her down, and she can kind of do it quickly, I guess, in a sense with his help.
Yeah.
I feel like if she did it alone, she wouldn't be, or she would take a lot longer than expected.
Yeah, I think he's like a morally ambiguous person, but is going to end up doing something for doing something good for the right reasons at some point,
Hmm.
even though he's depicted as being very like selfish and, like I said, morally ambiguous. Like he's
Mhm.
really out for himself for the most part, but he's going to do something selfless later. I think that's why we're getting this like view of him.
Hmm.
That's just my prediction.
Any other thoughts on chapter 4?
So just curious for you guys, where you think the story is going and what you think Richard's role is in this universe. And personally for me, like they've foreshadowed this great hero named Hunter. They mentioned back in Hunter's Day.
Mm.
They mentioned his name twice now, and I was assuming that's gonna tie together somehow in the future.
He's
I
giving
also kind of
chosen one.
feel like how they mention like you can't have both, you can only have one.
Mm.
He's gonna have both, like
Mm.
somehow, some way,
Hmm. Yeah, we have.
What if he has to choose?
or at least be able to switch back and forth.
What if he has to make a choice in the future? And that could be,
Yeah,
where
mundane
Jessica
life.
comes back in or some shit.
Yeah. Be like
Does
a
he pick
mundane life
Dora
for
or
this
Jessica?
Neverwhere shit.
It would be cool if he ends up having some kind of magical power, or he's like a swordsman or something. It would be cool if it turns out he's got some kind of
He
something
comes from
going
a
on.
long lost bloodline.
Oh yes.
Turns out he
I
is
mean,
a door.
Oh.
oh, I mean, he did have a Batman phone. He's kind of a cool guy.
It was a gift. It was
I
a
loved
gift.
that it was specifically a Batman phone.
They
That
illustrated it
reveal.
in the book.
They did actually. Let
Also,
me see if I can find it.
Oh man, they did. I missed that. Let me.
I gotta say, when this book started, after the prologue, or after Dora's section, I thought this Richard's timeline was like in the mid 1900s until they mentioned mobile phones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's modern. I think it's like probably early 2000s, mid 2000s modern. If I
Well,
had
the
to take
book
a
was
guess.
published in '98.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
Well,
I think
mobile phones
it's
did exist back then. My grandpa had one. They were just a lot bigger.
Yeah.
they were
Yeah,
chunky.
my mom
But I
had
mean, I
one.
know I'm sitting
Yeah.
here picturing either like a flip phone or like a smartphone, and I'm like, wait, no,
Here's the
that's
picture.
not
No.
it. This is the
Yeah.
90s.
Batman
Nokia.
phone.
Probably a
Nokia.
brick phone.
Yeah, and
Oh, that-
Nokia brick phone.
Let's
My
see.
mom had one of those.
Yeah, you could see the Batman
Yeah, my
of it.
grandpa was a truck driver, so he needed to have one, but I also kind of feel like it's in a way to show off like a class thing because mobile phones used to be obviously way more expensive and harder to get.
Mm.
That's also a
Which
fair
kind of
point.
makes it
Yeah.
funny that the schlubby man in London apparently has one. Or no, wait, Jessica was the one who had one.
Jessica
not
had
He
him.
one,
has a
yeah.
Batman phone.
Yeah, he has
Yeah.
a Batman landline.
Yeah.
He has a
Arguably a
Batman
cooler phone.
landline, but yeah.
So, we've seen this board dream thing kind of build up, and Kel mentioned it earlier. Any theories on this board dream and why? Unless I misunderstood it, but I'm pretty sure both De Carabas and Richard were having flashbacks of this boar dream.
Mm-hmm. That's probably going to be some type of may not be exactly a boar, but some type of
Like,
great
Malfunction.
challenge that they have to go
yeah.
against.
Like if Krupp and Vandemar are a wolf and a fox, maybe Boar's their boss?
That's a good point.
Or some other guy in the organization?
I feel like once upon a time there was some battle with that boar, and in another, like, maybe this is like another life for Richard, but you know, another life ago, Richard and De Carabas fought together. In this, I mean, maybe you go like back and forth between the worlds. Like you die in one and then you get reborn into the other. You die in that one, you go to. I don't know, but I'm like trying to explain how are they having like nightmare flashbacks of the same thing. They had to have both been there together, and what could possibly be the implication of that?
I think they both take on. I think they both like. For me, what I think is that they they both do, end up interacting with Door, and they both have to like help complete some. I don't know. Like that's why I think the recurring dream for both of them happens is because they both end up
Oh,
encountering Door somehow,
yeah.
and then they find each other. They find their way back to each other, and then eventually having to go through all these obstacles and stuff, all because the interaction with her or some part of
Yeah.
this darkness.
That is true. They
Oh.
did both have the memory slash dream slash flashback in the presence of Door.
But also, what was it that Dor said when she was trying to get away from Vandemar and Mr. Krupp? When she was desperately just trying to get out of the alleyway in the
To
dead
go
end?
somewhere safe?
Somewhere
Anywhere
safe.
safe. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anywhere safe, and it dropped her in front of him.
In front of Richard.
Maybe it was
He's a
Jessica.
nice- He's a good boy.
In front of Jessica as well.
Also, I kind
Oh,
of have
shit,
a
no, wait.
prediction for chapter 5 because they were talking about hiring the best bodyguard.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be really funny if the reason he has to go to the market
Is he
is
is the
she will pick
bodyguard.
Yeah,
him instead of the guy that they're trying to
Oh,
get her to pick.
Varney.
That's
maybe
what I'm
that new-
thinking.
Yep.
Or
that's
maybe
what
that new
Some-
girl that they just introduced
Oh,
that he crossed
yeah.
the bridge with. It could be her too, because she
Yeah.
she sounds like she's being set up to be a badass. So
Uh-huh.
I'm excited to see where her story goes.
Yeah, it does seem like a destiny fate type of situation. Like there's something important about Richard that we just don't know yet.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about Richard, guys. There's something about Dick.
Oh.
There's something about Dick.
Yeah,
I don't
there's
know, the
always
shape,
something about
the
Dick.
way he
Yep.
leans. Something about him.
which it's very hard for me to take him seriously when he says his nickname is Dick.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure
I
it
just
was the
pretend he
same in the
doesn't.
90s, but it's even worse 30 years later.
Yeah. Oh God.
Oh, don't say that. 98 seems like it was like 5 years ago.
98 was 5 years ago.
Yes, yes, thank you.
Hey, I wasn't even born yet.
That's right.
Oh, no.
Poor
Don't make us
Kel.
feel old.
He picked a book older than himself.
Yeah.
Well done.
Mm. I guess another. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead. No, it was a dumb joke. Go ahead.
Another cool moment that stood out to me in the last chapter was when Dor is telling us how she was not killed and that she was basically visiting. She was like, "Did you know there's still an encampment of Roman soldiers at a certain place.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what like made me think that okay, maybe some time
Yeah.
shenanigans are
Travel.
going on in addition to like teleportation. Another instance of that was back when Krupp and his Vandermelt
Vandemar.
yeah.
Yeah.
Vandemar, there we go. Eventually we'll get it. We're in Richard's place and they were like searching for door. They went into the bathroom. The last thing that we saw was Door in there getting her like wound fixed up. There's blood, there's like medical shit everywhere. But when they open the door, it looks pristine and there's nothing out of place there. So like
Yeah.
did she like make it go back a day? Like when they opened the door and like that's what they saw in there was before she was even there, which this he said that he smelled her at some point
Yeah.
before that, and I don't know if he said something about it afterwards or I think
I don't
some
know.
time and teleportation shenanigans are going on. Both.
What gave me that hint was Anastasia's medallion that says "I am 11."
Yeah.
Like she's trying to remind herself how old she was,
Oh
Yeah.
god.
or or other people,
Yeah.
because maybe she doesn't age there, and so she's trying to
Or you
keep the mindset.
it seems like everybody is holding on to as many possessions as they can, almost like they cannot acquire new possessions.
New ones, which is like when Richard brought his briefcase down there and then it was immediately ransacked.
Like he brought it into that other dimension. Only someone like at the stage of transition or something like could do that. That's the only way that
Yeah.
new things are brought in or
Acquired.
something. Also, I did find the part about the Roman soldiers. It says she lowered her hand. I was lucky. I'd gone off exploring for a few days. Did you know there are still some Roman soldiers camped out by Kilburn River? The Marquise had not known this, which irritated him. How many? She shrugged. A few dozen. They were deserters from the 19th Legion, I think. My Latin's a bit patchy. So that's kind of so the 19th Legion, that's a very
It's a
long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Very interesting. So it does does anyone else feel like there is an element of being dead and being alive maybe to this? Of maybe magical ghostiness or something?
maybe like a form of like purgatory or something. Yeah.
It's something like time doesn't move there the same way as it does in normal life.
Yeah.
Because Jessica does remember him, kind of.
Yeah, true.
She she
just
almost
barely
gets
for
his name
now.
right.
Yeah.
So like she knew Richard
It did.
Maygard or something. She said
It
something.
did. It did
a
not
little
seem to
different.
me like she remembered him. It sounded. She made it sound like she was a slut. Couldn't remember who she slept with.
Well, I mean, like,
I'm
so
very curious how
She literally said, "Oh, I see so many
now.
guys. Sorry, I can't remember them all."
But she did
Yeah,
after
the fact
she
that she
called
did
out
remember his name, like
Richard
she remembered the name.
When he
Maysbury
left.
or something like that.
Well, he said, "Oh, my name is Richard Mayhew. You don't remember me?" And then she was like, "Wait, I remember you, Richard
Dang.
Maybury." And I was like, "Well, she's just grasping at straws because
Yeah.
he already gave her
But
his
he
name."
can but she can see him, which is more than most people. Only the people who knew him before seem to be able to see him in his current state. Otherwise, people who
Yeah.
didn't know him do not hear or see him at all, which is very interesting. I hope there's an explanation.
And this is more like funny or a joke, but it really makes me wonder from her perspective how that like dinner
How it
meetup
looked,
with
yeah.
Mr. Stockton went. Because in the first chapter, she's like, maybe I'll just tell him that he died suddenly.
Yeah.
But now it's like she doesn't remember having a boyfriend at all. So what was the what was the context behind that dinner now? Was this just a work dinner or was this
Yeah. Had the spell taken
I
effect by
think
that
they
point.
also mentioned that that they were going to have to pay an extra $50 because of the reservation thing. So I wonder how they feel about that being sprung on them.
There's $50 on top of this. What? Why? Yeah. Yeah, like if the effect of just like touching Door and helping her is what started that forgetting, or
Well,
yeah.
what if it's not forgetting? What if he was just transferred into a dimension where he never existed?
Hmm.
But all his stuff is still there.
True.
Yeah, all of his stuff is still there.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Not in his office, but I think that's just because I feel like
that
they
he
just
caught
came in.
in the
They're like,
middle.
"Who is this shit?" You know, like
Yeah, I think he caught them in the middle of moving his shit out in his office.
Yeah, you're right.
And
yeah,
definitely
but
at the
his
apartment. Yeah.
his stuff was still in the apartment. It was just like nobody could acknowledge him.
Yeah.
They even said previous tenant, although they
Couldn't
which I
remember
thought
the
was
name
interesting.
Of, yeah.
Not sure how long ago they left either.
Yeah.
Even the bank had no
Yeah, it's
record
like
of him anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, his card didn't work anymore.
Interesting.
Hmm.
It's like a complete reset on his existence.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. Yes.
I'm excited to see what
I
Oh,
hope
yes,
we
me
get
too.
distinctive facts on like
Yeah.
what part of his transition caused that to happen.
Yeah.
Like when he confronts Door.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause
I
it'd
am a
be,
little Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say it would be pertinent to know. I think.
Yeah. I am a little bummed that I don't think there's a sequel to this, but I mean we still have quite a bit of book to go.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
But I am truly sucked into this book now that I
Oh,
got
yes.
into
Pretty
like
good.
I've
mid
really
chapter
enjoyed
3.
it.
I'm sucked in. Yeah.
yeah. Yep.
Yes, I want to know.
He has that effect.
Low key, I wanted to read more. I wanted to read more today when I was on
Same.
lunch, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't! I have to wait till the book club." So yeah, I was reading in bed last night. I think like in the middle of chapter 3, and it sucked me in. I was like, "Oh, I want to read more." And then I
Yep.
went to bed, and then I read it on lunch, and I was like, "Oh, I want to read more." But yeah, I had to restrain myself.
Marlon's the one out here who finished it like 3 days ago.
Uh-huh.
Oh man.
Finished like
He's just been
Saturday, I
sitting there
think.
waiting.
Yeah,
Yep.
basically.
Yep.
I read 300 pages of Berserk the last 2 days.
Oh,
Biden is
there you go.
time.
You know, with this blizzard going on, you'd think I would have read my let's see, I have like 3 physical books, 2 of which no, 4 physical books, 2 of which I bought here, and then like a Kindle that is also full of books. I was apparently like, I don't know, the equivalent of in a coma for the last 3 days. Like I was just like, "Oh, I'm on my phone. Now I'm staring at the ceiling." And now
Oh,
I'm
I'm
on my
asleep.
phone.
Yeah.
Ugh.
That's what the cold weather does to you.
True.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yes, I would prefer to hibernate like the bears do.
Well, does anybody else have any other final thoughts on the reading?
I do not.
All right.
I did want to say I'm probably going to miss next Wednesday as
Okay.
it is my birthday and I have
Oh,
plans.
yes. Oh,
Yay,
yes.
happy
Yeah.
early
Yes.
birthday!
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, actually, speaking of that, my birthday is the 29th, and I don't know if we're gonna be done. Are we done with the book by then?
I'm
Or
not
no?
sure.
No,
Let
right?
me. Let's see. I will tell you guys
It's a
what
Wednesday.
I think
is.
we are. I'm not sure.
I think that's the
Or is
last
that the
meeting
week
day
we
for this
finish it?
book.
So the 29th is the last meeting.
Oh,
So that is
But it is in the middle of the week, so maybe you guys will have plans the weekend before or the weekend after or something.
yeah, true.
We just see. But
But yeah, Sam might take me out that day because of my birthday and stuff, so
Oh,
that's
yes.
why.
So feel free to continue. I'll catch up and
Yes.
and catch up when I'm back.
Yes, we will have the recordings, I think, which will help when people have to miss here and there and stuff. So for next week, we're doing pages 113 through 206, or for different editions, that is through chapter 9. So So we'll read chapters 5 through 9, complete chapter 9.
Do we want to just adjust week 4 to Tuesday or Thursday? One day forward or back for Adrian's birthday?
I'm not necessarily opposed to that.
I think the
You guys
sooner
want to do a
we,
poll? It's whatever to
yeah,
me.
yeah. I'd say at least do a poll if we're,
Yeah.
if we're
Talk,
considering or something.
talk to Sam and see what the plan is, and if there is something
Maybe
going
maybe
on.
she wants to surprise them though.
Oh, that's true.
She is kind of doing a
I don't know for
themed
certain.
birthday for me. I don't know what her plan is, but
Mhm.
she's been hiding stuff from me, so
Ooh.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, if it's a surprise, we could run into trouble if we move it around too, perhaps. But yeah, we can do a poll to see if Tuesday or Thursday works for people. Yes. So, but okay. Well, yes. GG or GB. Good book. Good book, everyone.
Good book.
Keep
It's
it.
great.
Keep up.
Good
It's
book,
good book so far, guys.
GBHF. GBHF.
Yep.
Good book.
reading.
Have yeah. Good.
GBEZ.
Good bookies. Yes. Yes, good.
Good book, easy read.
Good,
Yep.
good.
Easy's in the chat. Easy's in the chat. Thanks for the bits.
Oh god.
Oh my god.
Okay. Well, I'll probably I'll figure out a way to upload this video onto the Discord for viewing pleasure. But yes, I think it went well, and the structure, every structure felt good. Volume wasn't too loud. Everything was clear, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the most part, yeah, I think so.
I mean, I thought the volume was a little too loud, like the music,
Mhm.
like
The sound
maybe turn it-
effects.
Mhm.
yeah, the sound effects. Maybe turn it down like 10%.
Okay, like when you say sound effects, you mean like the doorbell one or walking
The
one?
music.
The
When
music,
you start
yeah.
every chapter.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that was the
Yeah.
main theme. I can turn down the main theme a little.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But like by like 10%, because like I could still hear you, but like it was just
Yeah.
it was just
Kind
a
of
little
drowned you
loud.
out in a
Mhm.
couple
But
moments.
I will say, Toaster, your voice sounds a little rushed, like you're
Mhm.
trying to get everything in during the sound effect
Okay.
instead of just like, organically like, oh, this happened,
Yeah, so it's not so much a sound effect thing as I think I'm just reading, but also anticipating the next thing that I do. I think it will smooth as I do it more, because I wasn't sure
Yeah,
how.
practice makes perfect.
Yeah, how
It was a good
smooth
run.
it would
It
go.
was a-
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's a cool bit of storytelling and embellishment that you're doing.
Okay. Yes.
You're doing great, sweetie.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. Okay. All right. I'm gonna
All right.
end the stream there then.
See ya.